SmallCapPower is at the Cannabis Capital Conference presented by Benzinga, and we're talking to Anthony Dutton, the CEO of Cannex Capital Holdings. Anthony, welcome to SmallCapPower.
Thanks very much for having me here.
Anthony, one big key feature of your company is your operational efficiency that you are very vocal about. Talk to us about that.
Well, it's more our what I call operational history. You know, the companies that we've acquired in Washington and California, they have long histories of operations already. So it's not that we're doing anything different than other people, we've just been doing it for longer, so we think that we're better at it. We understand the pitfalls, we understand how to operate businesses at scale. So I think a lot of other people's will eventually catch up, but right now we feel we've got a pretty good head start, and that's showing in our numbers, it's showing in our brand dominance in both Washington and California. And ultimately those are, very important metrics, and operations always drive those metrics. So we just think our history really works for us right now.
Cannex has been on the lookout for some interesting, profitable assets. What's happening on the acquisition front?
Well, that's a great question, and there's a lot of opportunity out there, so we have to have multiple filters to make sure that we're not kind of being attracted by every shiny object, so to speak. So, we have a very core focus of what we're looking at. We like companies that have revenues. We like companies that focus on extraction, processing, and manufacturing. We like companies that have defined brands, and so we look for elements that lend itself to being a consumer branded goods company. Our long-term objective is to be a manufacturer and distributor of premium brands at scale, coast to coast, and then eventually internationally. So we need companies that fit into that strategic objective.
You've acquired Jetty extracts. What are the synergies there?
So, well, technically speaking, we have not acquired them yet. That should close in the next couple of weeks, but the synergies are super clear. Our extraction facilities in Washington are very similar to their extraction facilities in California, so we can achieve synergies in a number of different ways. Centralized purchasing, the exchange of knowledge. We can bring some of our Washington brands into California, be distributed through their network. Likewise, we can bring some of their California brands into Washington. So there's a lot of operational synergies, brand synergies, and the two teams just really get along. At the end of the day, if the people don't work well together, no matter how good your synergies, it's not going to be a very successful union. So we spent a lot of time just getting to know the guys.
Do you think there's a glut in the cannabis market in terms of everybody wanting to be a cultivator? Is that why you want to remain in a niche space?
Well, I think as any new market evolves, whether it's software, hardware, cannabis, people learn quickly what's going to be the important element of the industry, what's going to be the important element of the value chain. And when cannabis first became, the asset class that it is today, I think everybody just assumed that cultivation was going to be where all the money was made. And, cultivation will continue to be profitable and continue to be important, but it's not going to be where the brands are made. It's not going to be where the value-add manufacturing is created. If you think of a company like Heinz ketchup, for example, nobody who consumes Heinz ketchup, knows or even cares where the tomatoes come from that go into that bottle. So when you look at down the road for ranges of cannabis derivative products, whether they be vape pens or chocolates or creams or whatever, most people aren't going to really care where the cannabis came from to make those products. Now there'll be some consumers who are going to be very focused on quality flower. So some people will spend $200 on a bottle of wine. My wife will spend $12 on a pound of the best tomatoes she can find for a salad. And some people will spend, good money on quality premium cannabis flower.
You have a premium brand under your parent company. Talk to us about that.
So in Washington State, we have the number 1 and the number 2 flower brand. One's called Private Reserve, the other's called Legend. And on the edibles side, we have 7 of the top 10 edibles brands. We're pretty proud of that. So when people go into stores, we have a lot of shelf space. They ask for our brands by name, and we're getting the kind of brand recognition that's so important. In California with Jetty, they've got a very, very strong brand already. They have the top 5 pods or packs SKUs. They are one of the number 1 or number 2 products on the Ease platform, and for those of you that don't know about Ease, it's kind of like Amazon for weed. It's a very large e-distribution platform for cannabis products. And then we're also, number one sellers in a few key stores, the MedMen store in West Hollywood, the MedMen store in Venice. Some of our products are the number one seller in those stores.
Wonderful. Anthony, thank you so much for your time.
Anytime. Thank you very much.